Hi FlossTube Stitchers. My vintage stitch tonight is a kit from 1998 that I ran across recently, and I actually started stitching it on Monday. I think it was maybe 2 sessions of stitching, and then I actually fully finished it this morning. So let me show you what I'm talking about. It's a series of kits called the Alphabet Fold by Shepherd's Bush. And you know, what's really funny is I'll have to take a closer look at the other photos that go with the kits because I just realized this is T, this is the letter T, and there's all these T things. I just noticed the troll. So that the picture is full of things that start with the letter T. So I found another white banker's box this week that I had not gone through yet. And I kind of assumed it was stitching because I had 4 other ones just like it that were stitching, and they were all organized. This one turned out to be all kits. A lot of them were small, like the rest of the 26 alphabet letters from Shepherd's Bush. And many of them were kits that I had either purchased at a retreat or they were the class project from retreats. And they were perfectly organized. I have not been in that box in 20 years. And the first one I pulled out was the T. And I'm like, yay, I found the Thanksgiving one. So I had shown you 2 other ones, I think just 2 previously. H is for Halloween and P is for pumpkins. So somehow in my head, I was getting the alphabet confused with a monthly. And I was looking for probably T is for turkey or something that would be for November. So I was thinking, well, the P is for pumpkins was September and the H for Halloween was October. And now I'm looking for the Thanksgiving one. But when I started stitching it, I took a look at some of the motifs on the design and I thought, what does a teapot have to do with Thanksgiving? And then I realized it actually just says T is for ... at the top. So there are a number of tea things. The top flower is a tansy. And then there's a row of teepees, which I associated with Thanksgiving. And then it actually says Thanksgiving. It's hard to read, but it's in backstitch lettering. And then of course there's the turkey button. And then there's a teapot and, well, trees. I was trying to think of a type of tree that starts with a T, but I guess it's just T for trees. And then there's a specialty stitch at the bottom that's kind of hard to see there, but it's called the thorn stitch. So they really took the T seriously, as I'm sure they did all of the alphabet letters. So I'm going to have fun going through them and maybe trying to, well, I should do one a month and then eventually they'd be done. So if it only took me 2 sessions of stitching and then a little bit of time for the finishing, I don't know why I wasn't doing, well, I know why I probably wasn't stitching them because they were never available again. It was a, like a 2-year commitment to participate in the program. I paid full retail. They were $25, including postage way back then. And they were, so they were discontinued after that and they weren't available to me wholesale. So why would I spend a lot of time stitching something if I couldn't use it as a shop model and couldn't sell them? Well, I don't know, but I signed up for this 26 project automatic. I think I was enamored with Shepherd's Bush. They were extremely popular then. I know they're popular now, but they were one of the few like really big designers that everybody knew about back then. So anyway, now I'm like, why haven't I stitched these? It doesn't take that long and I should be enjoying them. Otherwise I wasted my money, right? So the other thing I wanted to point out is that I did notice this before on their earlier charts where they called for mostly DMC floss. They would name the floss colors to match the style of the design, like all spooky names for Halloween or floral names for a spring piece. And so on this one, the colors were tulip red, thistle purple, toad green, tartan green, teepee cream, tarnished gold, turkey brown, and then there was a Needle Necessities overdyed. And then even when they were doing the description of the back stitching, they were using all T words. It was just really cute. And really, next time I see them at market, I feel like I'm going to tell them this story and tell them that their efforts did not go unnoticed. And I'm sure they had a lot of fun doing it. So, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with Shepherd's Bush Designs because there's a lot of little fussy stitching. So the top row of flowers, this corner stitch was supposed to be stitched in red. And I'm like, seriously? You have 4 colors in one flower. What are we supposed to do with the tails? And I'm not experienced at the pin stitch and I'm afraid of it anyway. So I'm like, where are you supposed to put all these? So I didn't know what a tansy flower looked like. So I looked it up, and the first number of photos that I saw just showed yellow flowers. And I thought, I don't know why that red stitch is there. So I did 3 yellow stitches instead, and then it was a little bit easier to wind the floss under. And then they had this trellis in the middle, and honestly, you kind of can't tell. You can't tell what it is. It was fussy. There were 3 colors in it. I think I started stitching it because it called for the Needle Necessities overdyed, and it blended right into the fabric color, which is coffee bean from Perman. And then the turkey button was sticking off to the side because it didn't fit because the trellis was right there. And I thought, I am making an executive decision and I'm not going to stitch the trellis. Nobody else is going to know that anything is missing. And unless I really do have a full bowl or basket full of all 26 letters, I will probably just put this out for Thanksgiving and the trellis is not going to be missed. So then I was able to put the turkey centered over the stitching at the bottom. I had to fuss with them a little bit. Otherwise it was hitting the G in giving. So I tried to keep it as straight as possible, but anyway, so I still think the teapot looks a little bit out of place, but there is some lavender up there in the teepee. It's fine. And I just noticed that they said to stitch the buttons on with brown thread, and I stitched it on the matching red, but that doesn't matter. And I did not put any thermolam or batting under this because it seemed to fit very snugly. I did like the idea, and since the buttons were included, I went ahead and sewed those, and I sewed them all the way through. Sometimes I tie it and then just trim the ends, but this time I took it through the pillow and buried the ends. But that way, if you have a cat or children or grandchildren that might mess with it, at least the stitching won't come out. So I finished him this morning. All right. That is T from the Alphabet Fold. Okay, then I have some new models. This first one I've been hanging on to for a number of months. This is from Marlane, and it had been stitched as a shop model. The reason I know that is because, not hers, but I mean, we were supposed to have one as a shop model. And the reason I know that is because at the bottom of the free chart, we wrote what we used. So we changed some of the DMC to overdyed. Let's see, I think I can still hold this while I'm talking about it. And by the way, This chart is going to be included with the Atomic Ranch Automatic this month. But if somebody else wants it with a future order, just write down, this is Plum Pudding Needle Art. So you can just put PPN, and the name of it is Blessed Bee. It was a free chart from 2007. And our model was stitched, so she stitched it in the same thing that we did because we made kits. 30 count R&R reproductions creme brulee. We substituted blackbird, poblano pepper, and red currant from Classic Colorworks. It was Crescent Colorworks back then, but we substituted that for the DMC. And it looks like we, I think we maybe used the green for a couple of different areas because it uses way more DMC. And then we added the little round Ken button from Just Another Button Company in the middle of the flower. So when I did these kits back then, I don't remember what this was in. It could have been in a cute gift bag or a little reusable decorated box, or it could have included a gift of some sort. But we did try to use some different fibers and add an embellishment if there wasn't one on the original chart. So I had this put aside because I kept thinking I was going to show you hers and ours at the same time. I could not remember how we finished ours. Maybe I didn't finish it. Maybe I just stitched it and put it on the bulletin board. I don't know, but I haven't run across it in all these months. And now fall is ending, and I probably wouldn't have a hankering to show it until next fall. So I thought I better just show that to you now. So this is a custom frame. Well, it's custom, but I mean, it is a standard size. It's probably a 4-inch, but it's from Eastside Moldings. And then Marlane had our framer add an easel on the back so that she could easily put it in a smaller space. So next year, hopefully I'll find mine. And if it wasn't fully finished, I'll make sure to do that. And I at least could show you hers. Okay, I have a lot of stuff here. I don't know where to put it all. Okay, then our friend Phyllis W. was here yesterday picking up some framing, and she also brought back some of her fall finishes for us to use as shop models and took home some of her Christmas and winter. So let's see, I'll start with Halloween. This is Haunting Halloween by Drawn Thread. She stitched it on 36 count Edinburgh in the color Dirty U from Dames of the Needle that she got here. And I guess it called for a little black button there, and she just stitched the spider instead. That's the note that she has on the back that she so wonderfully provides for us now, so it's an easy reference. We do carry a lot of Drawn Thread Halloween charts, and we have 4 or 5, I think, on display here. I think we have that one done maybe on a different count fabric, but I like having multiple models, so it helps somebody see what it looks like on different colored fabric, on different count fabric, bigger, smaller, or maybe as a pillow. So anyway, I don't mind having more than one model of the same thing. The next two are Primrose Cottage, also from Phyllis. This is Autumn Alphabet. She stitched it on 32 count Belfast in Covered Bridge by Legacy Fiber Arts, also something that she purchased here. And she used all of the suggested floss colors and then had it custom framed. And then the next one, I may have shown her photograph previously, maybe in a video, or maybe I showed it on social media, but now we actually have the model on display. So this is Autumn Quaker, and she stitched it on 36 count Edinburgh from Zweigart in antique white, just basic color. And she used the Gentle Art Pumpkin Pie. At the time, I think we didn't have the color that Primrose called for. Now we do, but we were used to showing people different choices since, you know, in case they didn't want to order direct from Color and Cotton. So that is Phyllis's, and I got mine back yesterday. Let's see if I can show these to you at the same time. And I love having the different sizes, and we did different colors. So that's going to be fun to have those together on display. So this is mine. I had been thinking of having somebody make it into a pillow, but as you can see, I did this in 2023. We do not have a pillow finisher. I had contacted a few people outside of our state that do finishing, and they either were not taking on new clients or something else happened and I just didn't make it onto their queue, or health issues or family issues. And so I kind of put it aside, and then I thought, well, let me see if Bonnie can come up with a frame. And, you know, she's always saying that to me, just give it to me and I'll frame it. So anyway, I finally did, and I love the frame. I think it was the first choice she pulled off the wall. I think it looks really nice. And this is 25 count, which is why it made it so much bigger than Phyllis's. And I stitched mine in Belle Soie Autumn Breeze from Classic Colorworks. Alrighty. Then let's see. I have some other fully finishes. Well, you could consider them fully finished, but I have some ideas for embellishing them. So this is the Primrose Joy to the World. I have my needle on the back because I was experimenting with putting some embellishments on it. And this was done on 28 count Color and Cotton in the color Boardwalk. And I just, you know, trimmed it to fit the tuck. And since there's a little bit of space showing, which I actually don't mind, but I was thinking, oh, maybe I could, you know, embellish the corners. I don't really need to sew it in there. Although I was thinking this would be a good chance for me to practice, maybe over the winter, if I wanted to sew it in by using a blind stitch. This would be a good one to practice with, and then there's enough space there that it wouldn't be too close to the stitching. And anyway, so I was experimenting with this earlier today, and it just wasn't coming together. I think maybe the ribbon was too thick for me to work with, but I had this really pretty sparkly green ribbon that I had gotten. It's Place and Time, so that's Joanne Fabrics. So I had this ribbon. I had never used it for anything. And in my stash, I found this candy cane button from Albee Creations. We sold a lot of those buttons back in the day, and I don't remember what year they retired, but you have a hard time finding these now. And I thought, oh, I think maybe I could put this, you know, in the corner someplace. My husband thought it looked good on the bottom, and I like the idea of the candy cane being representative of Jesus with the upside down J. So I thought maybe this would work. So I knew that it would be easier to sew the button onto the bow or the ribbon instead of trying to sew through all the layers to the back of the pillow. So I did sew that on after I didn't trim this yet. But I can't get this sewn all the way through the pillow because there's 4 layers of ribbon there. And I wasn't using a sharp needle, but I don't use a sharp needle to sew embellishments on stitching projects. So I didn't think that was the problem. So I don't know. I can easily take it apart. Well, then when I got to the shop today, I thought maybe I'll just see if, well, I actually remembered that there were some round ceramic buttons, and I thought, oh, they're sometimes too large for some projects because they're pretty big. I think are they like an inch? I'm just going to hold them up so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I had a couple of the dark green and a couple of the dark burgundy, and they look to match the floss perfectly. So I think I'm going to use these and not worry about the ribbon. And I'm just going to use 2 green ones and 2 burgundy ones because I think I had 4 burgundy, but I didn't have 4 green. And I thought, I think I'll just do, well, I can't show you because they'll fall off. I'm going to do the 2 burgundy and the 2 green in opposite corners. So the next time you see this, it may have the buttons on it, but I'm still calling it finished because technically it is finished. And that's one of these little cards for, this one's $5. I don't know if the price has gone up. This was from 2021. All right, so that is my Joy to the World. And that was a tuck pillow from Old Colonial, but back in the day that I had in my stash. Okay, then I got this back yesterday from Bonnie. This is my Flossabilities Halloween pillow. And I had been thinking of going through my stash of Halloween fabric, although I don't have that much for Halloween, so there probably wasn't going to be anything in there that had a deep purple with this color orange. And I actually never ran across my Halloween fabric, so maybe I don't have anything at all. So I thought if Bonnie could come up with a frame, I would use this. And I was really afraid because this is dark purple. It's Witch's Brew from Color and Cotton. And I didn't know if there'd be a dark purple frame, but this is from Eastside Moldings. And I was afraid maybe it would look like black and it would look like it didn't match. But when you put it next to black, it looks purple. And right now, I think it looks like it matches the floss, so I'm okay with it. But then I ran across this article. I found it through another blogger, but the website is sweetredpoppy.com. And I think I might share this for my Tuesday's tip at the beginning of December because you might find it handy for making bows. The name of the article is How to Tie a Perfect Bow with Ribbon, 7 Ways. And one of the ways, I've seen people do this before, one of the ways is to take a bunch of ribbon scraps and tie them together and put this on. So I picked all different colors that I thought would go with my piece. This is not brown. This is a really, really deep, like brownish burgundy, but I put it next to brown to make sure I was in the right lighting conditions and that I wasn't going to make a mistake. And then I did use a couple different oranges. None of them are a perfect match to that, but I think overall it looks okay. And I think there's a couple different shades of purple in there, and I don't think it clashes. So if I put this on the frame, I'm going to do it with a Velcro dot because if I don't like it, I could remove it right away. And even later, I could change it and put something else on it. But anyway, tell me what you think. I had 2 ideas. And this will be hard because I have to hold it. I was thinking of either, and I would put it like by the corner so that it wouldn't cover up too much of the stitching. And I can actually cut these smaller. This ribbon is actually the ribbon that I tied around all of the pieces, so I could move that to the back or tuck it under so that it's not hanging down. So I could put it there, or I was thinking I could put it at the bottom. So I may have to trim them. I did 6 inches like they suggested. And with a long bodkin type needle, I can still get other ribbon through here. Like I made it as tight as I could, but there's still a little give. So if I do find a different purple ribbon, because this was just stash left over from other things. I save bows and ribbons from gifts and all kinds of things. So it was just in my stash. But if I find some other colors that are better, I could always pull one of these out and slide another one through there. So that's not permanent yet. But again, I can call this a fully finished because it is framed. Okay, then my whip this week is something also that I started. I think I started it on Wednesday. It's from the Calico Confectionery, in all things give thanks. I've wanted to do this for a while. I actually like a few of their autumn, and I think I have a couple Christmas in my stash that I want to do. I am using so far all of the suggested DMC colors except for the green. I'm using an overdyed green. What am I using? I did stitch one row and I thought it was too dark. It looked too much like the brown, so I took it out. Now I can't remember what I changed it to. It might be guacamole or grasshopper. I'll let you know next time. So there's some green in the trees and some green in the, the grassy area. So I thought just for fun, I would do that in an overdyed. And I would have used the DMC if I had it, but I didn't have it. And I thought, oh, I think I'll just use an overdye. So this is going to be fun. It's on 16 count Heartland from Picture This Plus. So, I love stitching on Aida or 25 count when I'm tired. So this was a fun stitch so far. Okay, then, gosh, I'm expecting a few other things. I only got one small auto this week. There's supposed to be 3 other autos and another order coming. And I had them listed that I was going to talk about them tonight, but they never showed up. Okay, so we got from Hands On Design, and some of these, let's see, some of these might have been Jingle Bell projects or other retreat type projects from Kathy. So this is called All Is Bright, and it's from 2023. And then this one is Christmas Folk from 2024. So this is the same size as her 4 Seasons that goes on the folk board. And then there's an extra ornament. And then this one I do think is brand new, Home for the Holidays. And she's got tutorials for how to finish all those Chantel boards. So I think that's really cute with the plaid. So that is all I have for you tonight. The person who's going to receive my Christmas Magic chart of my project that I showed last week is Suzanne Smith 7664. And I have her address. I need her just to confirm that it's really her or that she hasn't moved since the last time I sent her something. And she said she thought she would probably stitch the full piece, that she liked the pillows, but she doesn't really enjoy stitching the same thing more than once. So I agree with her. I remember back in the day, I would stitch the same wedding sampler for a lot of different friends or relatives that wouldn't see each other and wouldn't know it was the same thing. And I did the same baby thing. But now there's so much to stitch. I agree. I probably would not want to stitch something more than once. So anyway, okay. Those of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a really great week, some great time off, delicious food, fun time with your family. We're going to be closed on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're actually not hosting until Friday, but I will enjoy the time finishing my Thanksgiving decorating. I have fall out and I had Halloween, but now I need to switch it to all the Thanksgiving decor and, cooking everything from scratch and having some extra time to stitch. So I think it'll be fun. Okay, we will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.